Welcome back, Halo followers. Recently, I was able to play Halo Infinite's Forge for the first time, and I wanted to share my impressions and thoughts and brutally honest opinions about what this mode means for Halo Infinite. Can it really live up to all the hype, or is it just smoke and mirrors, right? Well, today I want to break it all down, guys. Be sure to smash that like button blue and subscribe and enjoy the new Forge gameplay. So I have to say right out of the gates, Forge is amazing. This is like a forger's wet dream. Guys, it is so intuitive. It is so easy. Everything that 343 has learned from what fans wanted in Halo 4's Forge, what Reach did well, from what Halo 5 especially did well, it honestly feels like the team that made Halo 5's Forge is back at it again. I don't think it's the same people that developed it per se, but it feels just like Halo 5's Forge, but better. Now, this gameplay that you're seeing is with mouse and keyboard. In fact, I honestly recommend it over controller, although Infinite Forges, all these amazing builds that he's made in Forge so far has actually been from controller and not keyboard and mouse. So yeah, it is definitely possible, it's intuitive, and it's a bit of a learning curve. I do want to talk about the terrain. The terrain editing isn't as clean as I thought it would be, either that or I'm just not knowing how to do it properly. It's a little bit, I don't know. I was hoping that the terrain would be more like a map editor in the next Halo, and here we are still with large chunks and pieces, just throwing them around, hoping it looks good, and then having to doctor it up with greenery and small plants and make it look more natural. So there is kind of a skill, I'm sure, a skill gap. It's not super easy, I think, to make really beautiful, good looking maps. However, if Infinite Forges and others have shown us and proved to us anything, it would be that it is possible to make mind-blowing arenas and maps and gameplay, maps that actually look like dev maps. Forge really pops because of all the custom objects, all the thought that went behind each Forge object, and they just kind of understand the mind of the forger now. That's what really got me excited about this when I was really playing around with the plants. They move, okay, and the grass, you know, you can size the grass. I mean, it just looks great, even though there's like this weird bounding box on them. And there's just so many different options to scale. Scaling is a game changer. It can artificially make objects look like they have higher polygons, and so effectively maps can look as detailed as you want them to look. Don't even get me started on the materials. I won't say that Forge is being carried by the materials, but wow, are they outstanding. Not only is there tons of options on most Forge objects, but the options that you do have sometimes don't even need to be changed or changed very much, because by default it just looks so damn good. I mean, there are so many Halo friendly assets like these Foreigner objects. Every single one of them is beautiful and looks like it was taken directly from the campaign in all of its glory. I mean, the reflection, I mean, there's even reflection volumes. Holy crap, right? Reflection volumes that will essentially make the reflections on objects nearby like cube maps, if you know what those are in game development. I mean, there's so much thought and detail that went into making Forge. It's like, no wonder this has taken so long to push out. Now, of course, I wish Forge was already out, but regardless, I think that this is the real deal. One thing that really caught me off guard was how good the sun lighting can be in this game. The environment lighting is amazing. You can go on default maps and change the rotation, the pitch, and you have lighting that could probably just be saved, and then you can now play on the map with different lighting, different colors, and I mean, it's just that easy. It honestly reminds me of Halo Online's Forge and how easy they made it back then, and that it feels like 343 used Forge to set up some of the maps. It's almost like the maps run in tandem with Forge and how they are played by default. It's not like a weird add-on. It's like this is how the dev maps were built, were by using these tools. I could see all these maps. In fact, that would probably be a fun project. Remake one of the dev maps into Forge maps and see how close you can make it look. I would say it's within about a 5% gap that Forgers have with dev maps, and that's quite incredible. I do have a couple complaints. Again, disclaimer, this is not the final version. This isn't even a version that players are really meant to be playing right now, but we have access to if you go through the proper steps, is that if you press undo too many times, you'll crash. You can't save maps, and that's obviously because this is pre-beta, and that also I just don't like building on dev maps, and that's why I'm really hoping that the leaks that we've heard in the past are true, that there will be a blank canvas for us to build on. Not only do I not want to load Behemoth here, and it's getting in the way, and I keep dying by death barriers, and I don't want to be here, right? I don't want to be on Behemoth. It just happens to be the best map to forge on. Another complaint I have is that there's no banished models, really, at least as far as I could tell. There is some banished textures that you could probably use to retexture some of the UNSC and other assets to make it look banished, but there's not many banished objects. There's not many sand or desert or temple objects and textures like, for example, to remake Sandtrap with. Overall, I think too many of these objects are UNSC and human themed, and I hate that because I think many people naturally are just going to make UNSC human facilities and bases, and there's already too many of those in Halo Infinite. There is a large amount of foreigner objects, and man, are they beautiful, and those are a little bit less commonplace in Halo Infinite's map roster, so I'm excited for people to take advantage of that. We've seen some beautiful creations so far, but I'm afraid that that seems to be the two things that 343 seems to be majorly promoting in this, when there's Covenant models missing, when there's not banished objects really here, there's not banished objects, there's not snow assets at all. In fact, they decided to invest a lot of time into wetlands and other obscure biomes that don't look pretty and will certainly be used to make some great creations, but I think snow is what people are really aching for. I know I am, in desert, and there doesn't seem to be like a whole lot of investment, and the little that we do have that seems to be kind of nudging people, like where they can do things like that, like a snow map or something, it just doesn't look good. At least that's from what I've seen. Now, honestly, this is pre-beta, and as long as there's not random crashes that could really annoy people, because I crashed quite a few times while playing Forge, doing simple things like undoing or just spawning a couple too many duplicates or things like that. Ultimately, I had a really great time playing this. As long as we can share and create easily without not many bugs or issues getting in the way. My big worry moving forward isn't really Forge at all, but when Forge does release, I'm scared that this might not work out as well as people hope, as well as I hope, because there's not enough game modes available, and I don't want to see people making game modes all up in the script editor. That's going to suck and be annoying. We need to see things like simple game modes like Infection. Infection is absolutely essential. If nothing else, Infection needs to come as soon as Forge comes, because if it doesn't, this whole launch of Forge could be thwarted and really hurt the longevity, just like Halo Infinite's longevity was hurt because of basic things not being done the right way at launch, right? So I want to see game modes on its own. I'm really happy with, I'm really excited about, and I'm excited to make some maps. I wasn't really inspired to make anything finished or even half finished, because I know it's just all going to be deleted anyway. And there is a way to save your Forge maps, but it's not going to be for the final release, so I've heard. I could be wrong about that. Seems like I've been wrong about a couple things these past few days. So anyways, guys, you let me know your own thoughts about this down in the comment section below, and thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye.